The Last Hope. It was the year 2050, and the world was in chaos. Climate change had ravaged the planet, causing widespread famine, droughts, and natural disasters. Governments had collapsed, and people were left to fend for themselves. The few remaining survivors huddled together in makeshift communities, struggling to survive. One of these communities was led by a man named Jackson. He was a rugged man in his mid-30s, with a thick beard and piercing blue eyes. He had led his community through some of the toughest times, but even he knew that they were running out of options. Their food supplies were dwindling, and they had no way to grow more. One day, Jackson stumbled upon an old abandoned laboratory. It was filled with strange equipment and chemicals that he couldn't understand, but he knew that it had potential. With nothing to lose, he gathered a group of his most trusted companions, and they began to explore the lab. After weeks of trial and error, they stumbled upon a machine that seemed to have been designed to create food out of thin air. It was unlike anything they had ever seen before, but it seemed to work. They tested it on some simple ingredients, and to their amazement, it produced a perfect meal. Over the next few weeks, they continued to refine the machine, and soon they were able to produce enough food to feed their entire community. Word spread quickly, and soon other communities came to them for help. They were hailed as heroes, and for a time, it seemed as though the world might have a chance after all. But then disaster struck. One day, while the machine was running, there was a sudden power surge. The machine malfunctioned, and a thick cloud of smoke filled the room. When it cleared, they discovered that the machine was destroyed beyond repair. Panic set in. Without the machine, they had no way to feed their community or any of the others that had come to rely on them. Jackson and his companions were devastated, but they refused to give up. They knew that they had to find a way to rebuild the machine. With nothing to go on, they scoured the remains of the laboratory for any clues. It seemed hopeless at first, but then they found a notebook hidden away in a cabinet. It was filled with scribbled notes and diagrams, but they soon realized that it was the work of the scientist who had created the machine. With the notebook as their guide, they set to work. It was a difficult and dangerous process, but they refused to give up. And after weeks of trial and error, they finally succeeded. The machine was running again, and they were able to produce enough food to feed their community and many others. Word spread quickly, and soon Jackson and his companions were hailed as heroes once again. The world had hope, and it seemed as though there was a chance for a better future after all. As the years passed, the machine continued to provide food for countless communities. People started to work together again, rebuilding the world that had been destroyed. Jackson and his companions became legends, their story passed down from generation to generation as a symbol of hope and determination. In the end, the world was a better place, and it was all thanks to the efforts of Jackson and his companions. They had faced impossible odds, but they never gave up. And in the end, they had saved the world from the brink of destruction.